Okay, suppose you need a 1/4-inch ball. You get that from China, 1/4-inch. But let's say you need a 1/4-inch ball with 20 thousandths on it, 0.250. You know, from 0.25, 1/4-inch, 0.250, a little more precise. But
right.
What if you need a 0.25020? Oh man, I got a whole jar of them.
Boy.
Oh wait. You know what? You don't need a 25020. You need a 250270. I got those too. So I got all the balls you need. And then the balls get bigger as we go along. And then we change material, and we're down to some small stainless steel balls here. And these are 0.156603. But if you need some 0.157555s, we got those too. That's how the ball business works. Okay? It's about precision. You don't want to be on an airplane. You don't want to be in a space station. You know, you don't want to be running your Mars probe with balls that don't have a lot of numbers after the decimal.
That are more than...
Yeah, you want a lot of numbers after the decimal.
100th of a thousandth.
Yeah.
And you guys are not using metric, huh?
No, they have metric. We have calculators. So
of course,
we can calculate.
I would
metric.
think scientific stuff would...
You know what? If you deal with Europe, you got to do the metric system. They haven't advanced to the inches, so we will acquiesce to their foreign their ways.
Of course, they will come along, won't they?
Yeah.
They will.
Backwards,
Yeah. And then there's a whole military specifications is all codes.
Wow.
You know?
What are they preserved in? Oil?
Yeah. It's just oil. It's Hey, every man knows you don't want your balls to rust.
Oh, hell no.
My name is Matt Gleason, and my father had this factory. He started it in 1952, and he brought in stuff to it every day. The last day he was here was in 2022, while he was undergoing some medical treatments. But 70 years of acquiring and using stuff. And as my father got ill, he said, I'm having the hardest time in my life making the transition from producer to consumer. I don't like it one bit. My father started a factory or a job shop in 1952, ended up doing aerospace work, ended up doing work for NASA. The way he made it work was he only bought used machinery. So when your business went out of business, he would go to your shop and buy machines for cents on the dollar, refurbish them, and get them up and running for the jobs he had here. Problem with buying used machinery is often the thing you want is on a pallet with a bunch of other stuff you don't want. So he'd buy that pallet for the two things he needed, and he'd put the other stuff into dry storage. Well, he ended up with a lot of stuff. If you ever needed a 1/4-inch pipe, he had the 1/4-inch pipe. If you needed a resistor, he had a box full of those resistors he had gotten over the years. He went to a machine auction at least once a month between the mid-1950s and the mid-2010s, all over Southern California, sometimes even out of the region. He'd fly and he'd end up with a truckload coming from Tennessee or Phoenix, Arizona or somewhere. And one day he showed up, he bought Pratt & Whitney had a gauge block division, and he bought Pratt & Whitney's gauge block and division, and they had all these plaques for machines, and we were using the plaques as frisbees. Because there was just so much extra stuff. My father was raised in the Depression, so he was a hoarder. So he started just buying buildings to store all of this stuff, and it was just an endless amount of crapola. But one man's garbage is another man's treasure. But again, to run this machine shop, when he needed wiring, he had the wiring. When he needed, a clamp, he had the clamp. One time a friend of mine needed some pipe bent, and I called the shop and I said, do you guys have a pipe bender there? And the only thing they said was, yeah, what diameter? Because they had so many pipe benders. It was an absurd amount of stuff. A lot of it was useful, but most of it is literally sat in dry storage since the day the auction was over. So there you have it.
So he was capable of everything, right? He could diagnose and repair electric motors.
Oh yeah, yeah. My father invented 1,000 machine and patented 2 of them. He said a patent is just a license to litigate, and that's all. So his idea of a patent was just lock it behind to lock the door so you can't see the machine that he invented.
Right.
If a customer needed to know how the part was made, he would invent a second way that made a shitty version of the part, so that you had to then you'd run away thinking, ha ha ha, he revealed so much. You'd build that crappy machine and you'd never be able to get the good part that he could make, because he had another way of doing it completely. So half of engineering, he said, was to fool other engineers.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
People today seem to be so impressed by people with these capabilities, but our fathers and grandparents could do all this stuff, right?
Well, they did it, and they did it every day. I think that's one thing my father was the furthest thing from a dabbler. When he got into something, he'd read 3 books on it, cover to cover. But
he didn't call people to do every little thing for him. Like today, everybody has a phone book of people that they call for all the little stuff that they can't do.
No. My father, I mean, he ended up with, I mean, it became a large operation and he needed other people. But yeah, he knew how to do everything. If he needed to pour concrete, he poured concrete, and it was that concrete's still solid today. And if he needed to make a, transistor metronosphere or some, whatever, he could sit there and make a metronosphere or whatever,
So he knew what all this stuff was.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah, he knew, like Spielberg knows how to make movies. My dad knew how to make machines.
That's awesome. Yeah. And he lived to be
93. My dad's name was Gene Gleason. He was born in 1929. They moved to California during the Depression. He grew up in Santa Monica. Went to Santa Monica High, Santa Monica College. He had a extra credit assignment for an electronics class in 1948. He was Santa Monica High class of 1947. He started Santa Monica College as he was a senior. 1947-48, his extra credit was to build a radio transmitter to broadcast wrestling matches. In 1947-48, that transmitter was the first iteration of KCRW, which is still at
89.9.
Yeah, so my father started this company in 1952, and he moved to the facility, the block that it's on now. He moved here in the mid-50s. And 4 o'clock break. So yeah, if you wanted if you had a piece of property here, my old man would just wait you out when there was the Watts insurrection in 1966. He bought some of these buildings for $4,000 for a piece of property that's now worth who even knows how much, because people just wanted to get the hell out of here after the insurrection. So
that's a little bit of a modern word, isn't it?
Yeah. They called them the Watts riots back
then. Right.
There was the SLA shootout. There's still bullets in the building. You could dig out from the building if you could get on the roof of the building. My old man dug out cyanide-tipped bullets that the SLA was shooting at the cops, or maybe the cops were shooting.
This building is what, 1920s? I see it's a timber lath building I saw up there.
You could look at the real estate records. There's one of the buildings on this property is a hotel from the 1800s.
Oh wow!
It's got a second floor, wood frame, pretty amazing thing.
I was curious about his health, exposure to all this stuff that is considered today: lead, cadmium, asbestos, mercury.
Yeah, my father lived to be 93. He was very healthy, right until the end. After the pandemic, he developed a leukemia. Some type of leukemia, and he got treatment for that. But they said you basically, it was like a year and a half, and pretty much a year and a half later he passed away.
And when did he get that?
So he was in his early 90s then. He was 91, 92 when he was diagnosed.
So,
but they said one of the possible causes of it was exposure to solvents. But the doctor told me, he said, look, I've got guys in their 60s, and your dad comes in with this in his 90s, but he was a very healthy guy,
That's awesome.
I mean, he was blessed with good genes. My mom lived to be 92. My dad lived to be 93. So hopefully there's good genes in the family, right?
Yep. Well, this is pretty cool. I got his clock from above his bench there. I'm going to put that above my bench.
Yeah, you got some old light bulbs here. Who knows? But the thing about it is, everything you're looking at here was probably on a pallet.
Surplus.
And it was he just grabbed the pallet because he needed some engine that had 2 pieces of wire he needed.
Right.
And he's got more sandpaper here than a sandpaper factory.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
Yeah, I mean, my dad had 7 kids, went to church every Sunday, was an usher at the Catholic Church, and put his kids through college, and it has employed over the years at least 1,000 people to varying degrees. Some people have worked for this company for 30 and 40 years. I'll come visit the company and see people that knew me when I was a little kid running around here. I spent every Saturday of my childhood and all my summer vacation here, unwillingly. I had my younger brother had a natural inclination to engineering, and now he owns the company. It's a family factory. Art critic.
You are?
Yeah, my father always got a kick out of that. That he just said that we would come to the factory when we were kids.
So tell us about the factory.
No, we had to come here. My mom had 7 kids, so to give my mom one day off, my dad would take all the kids to the factory.
What's the factory make?
Aerospace parts, primarily.
Okay.
So, and that used to be big in the Southern California, but after the Berlin Wall fell, the Cold War ended, a lot of the aerospace places closed. So the factory pivoted to making measuring parts for precision, a lot of precision applications.
Right.
And so one of the big things they make now are scanning spheres, which you can bounce a laser off of a spherical metal object. You can bounce a laser off it to better measure physical space. Sorts of stuff like that. It's a little above my pay grade.
The ball bearings.
The spheres are also balls for bearings, but if you need a ball for a bearing, if you just need a ball bearing for a car, you can get that made in China. So you got all these other things too, like you've got all sorts of applications. Balls for bearing, you can get those in China for really cheap in bulk. But if you need an exact, precise spherical surface, they have machines here that can make a perfect surface. It's to within a millionth of an inch. It's absurd. They can measure stuff here. It has to be 68 degrees when they measure it, because metal expands by millionths of a micrometer after above 68 degrees,
right.
and it contracts below 68 degrees.
Right.
I don't know any of this. I only know this because I learned it as a kid, because it was the family business. If my dad had owned an ice cream shop, I would know where to find cherry extract, right, to make the best ice cream. But I learned about 68 degrees to measure it when I was a kid, but I'm not inclined to this. My brother owns the family business now. And, but yeah, we had to run around here as a kid to give my mom a day off. And so I rebelled against it, and I ended up as an art critic, and I published an art magazine, and I used to ship my art magazine. I would come in here with my art magazine, then I would ship it around the world, stacks to put in galleries around the world, and I would say, give me my inheritance now, I want to use your shipping. So I had an art magazine for years that got really well known. So it had nothing to do with machining or anything, but my dad used to get a kick out of that I still found a way to make use of the factory. I would use their shipping facilities.
This is the most insane thing I've ever seen.
It's a city block cobbled together over the years of my dad buying property when there was a problem.
It's a labyrinth, man.
Yeah,
it's
it's a
an
complete
absolute labyrinth of a machine shop. It's insane.
Yeah.
I couldn't show any of it in this video out of respect and
No,
whatever.
it's just, I mean, some of it's just proprietary manufacturing.
Right. I mean, it's mind-boggling.
But if you want to buy a lathe, we got about 30 lathes, a couple milling machines to sell right now. So we're basically going to sell this. We're basically getting rid of this. Friends of friends are coming by and cherry picking cool stuff. But
Right.
when the cool stuff runs out, there's just going to be a lot of heavy metal, and they're just going to forklift it out of here and scrap it.
Man, that's horrible.
Yeah. I mean, there's some of it's really beautiful objects, but a lot of it is just, it's, you know, you can get it all on a silicon chip. You can get it all at Harbor Freight. So,
Yeah, man, but who wants that stuff?
yeah.
I mean, this old, beautiful American iron, it's
No,
incredible.
it's a lot of beautiful stuff, but at some point it's like, hey, property tax goes up here. I mean, you gotta, at some point, you gotta get with it.
Right.
And this building is right by a Blue Line station, so it's much more valuable as low income housing.
Oh, yeah. They're going to
For
put
people
one
who
of
own a
those.
car that still want to commute to work on the train. It's much more valuable as that than it is to store stuff from the 1950s and 60s. Sad as that may be.
They're going to put one of those mega things here. That's horrible. Those mega mansions.
Well, it's that or people living on the streets is how I look at it.
Yeah, no, I know.
But, you know. So this is my father in 1968 measuring the roundness of balls. When you have a ball, it looks all shiny, but then when you magnify it on this machine, you can see all the lumps in it. Even the shiniest, roundest appearing metal ball will actually have a lot of wobbly parts to it. You don't want to be on an airplane with that ball, but that ball, that's okay. You want the airplane with that? That's no problem. Airplane like that, that's not going to be. So there's my dad in 1968 working. So I don't know where they found this, but they used to send these parts out. They used to send these advertising things out. And then one day I told my dad, you need a website. So when I was a kid, when I was like 10, this is a vertical milling machine. I think I don't know if it was this one. They bought so many since then. But I worked on a lathe like that, a Kazanov lathe. My dad didn't tell me, oh, you're supposed to be a trained machinist. He would just teach you the basics, and then he would, and then so we are making parts for NASA, and he's got machinists, and then he would yell at the machinist, my son came in here on Saturday, and he put out 40 parts an hour, and you're only putting out 20 parts an hour, kind of humiliate him. So, yeah, and I don't know what any of this stuff is.
Well, all the tooling.
Yeah, here's the tooling, and,
And most of this is just going to go for...
A lot of this is going to be scrapped because, there's just so much. I mean, at some point, the surplus is the surplus. But if you know anybody that wants a lathe, I'm not the hardest person to find. So, yeah.
What else?
And then,
Wow.
oh, yeah, see, this is a Kazanov lathe. This might be the lathe. It might be my lathe. But I ran this lathe.
This is 1% of this you're seeing, 1%.
Huh?
No, I'm just saying this is like 1% of this place.
Oh, it goes on. It's endless. Yeah, it's endless. But the thing about it is you'll have a machine will sit here for 30 years and then they'll get a job and they'll be like, oh yeah, we could do that job. Take all the crap off the Kazanov lathe so we can make whatever we make. And then this thing will sit here for another 10 years.
Wow, this is like a hydraulic, not a hydraulic, just like a gear punch.
Yeah. It's all by
Press.
and then you got all this shelving here.
Where else should I go?
Hey, follow me. So this is some product they make for measuring. I have no idea what it does. Here's a classic thing. My dad taught us to use the bandsaw, right? My brother's an engineering mind, and I'm a goofy art critic, right? My dad teaches us how to use this, lectures us about chopping our fingers off, turns it on and says, okay, he gives us each a piece of wood. My brother is an engineering mind, makes a puzzle. right? I'm a little goofball. I draw a naked lady and bandsaw out the actual naked lady. So there you have it. My dad gave me the naked lady years ago. I still have it. It's this completely absurd thing. You found more stuff, eh?
Where's our staging room?
Just stage her right there. If you want.
That old air conditioner. Wow.
Right there. Yeah. Oh God, there's an old free. Yeah. Who knows? There's just so much crap here. Yeah.
So what else can we
You want to
look?
go out in the backyard? There.
Is there more in the backyard?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, is this the way we came in or no? It's the
Yeah,
other way.
coming this way. Here's an old drinking fountain. You know, an old pipe. Who knows what this machine does? I have no idea. I'm an art critic, so I think it inspired me visually. But it's funny because every once in a while I'll meet like a sculptor or somebody, and they will have like their own little machine shop, and I will not be impressed, but everybody else is. But I grew up with this.
Have you ever seen anything like this, Matt?
What?
This place.
When I used to clear out these shops when they went out of business. I felt like a scuba diver for Rotor.
Yeah, but
they'd come out,
but I mean,
clean compared to the way I used to come out.
the TV stuff, but this is, look at this level.
Wild stuff, eh?
Did the other guys from you?
No.
Some more stuff.
Smells pretty fresh.
Too bad it's not the shape of a body there on the mattress.
It was someone's homeless camp. There's their food. Wow. Burned out homeless camp. Vacuum gauge.
Yeah, but it's missing the glass. You can see the wind's blowing the meter.
Oh, there's some audio right there.
Yeah.
Right there. See those speakers?
Yeah, but that's that shit.
Really?
Your sarcasm was actually appreciated. It's not a problem.
I'm just here for the scent of the burned out homeless camp.
Getting through here. Let's see.
Feeding. Feeding frenzy? Ooh. What the hell is that? Synchronometer?
What are you guys doing?
More like prop.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, prop
That's what I
aesthetic
thought.
stuff. So
This
if
one
it works,
got-
it's a win. If it doesn't, we'll do a little do.
You got a prop shop or?
Yeah, we do. We have a prop shop in East LA.
You know a guy named Steve Irwin? Does a lot of.
Not the we restore. Yeah. We have kind of specific ads which came across. Exactly. 50 spaceship kind of thing.
Is that a regular power supply?
No, it's not RF.
Oh, okay. Oh, what's this?
But well, you know why we're here? Because we don't know what's here.
Can't help it. Can't help it.
Look at this gear puller right here.
Oh man, I've never seen that big.
Damn.
Pulley puller, yeah.
Food is what's here.
Oops, sorry.
70 years out of date.
Hey, what's the yellow X?
Guess everybody has their own
like mine is closed. It's the hygrometer. That's cool.
Okay. I mean, I guess. This is like a little kiln. It's like a...
I haven't even been inside yet.
Same stuff.
It's obvious for people that don't have jobs.
Oh, yeah, Matt?
I described me pretty well.
Yeah, you're the exception.
Can you grab Steve?
Just squeeze by it, sorry.
Amperes. No, milliamps.
Oh, that's amps.
Yeah, that's, but this is like so steampunk. I might have to have this. Wow. Maximum watts 150. Man, that is unique. Bunch of industrial process. Let's see the rest of it.
I'm just afraid this is what my warehouse would look like if I had the room.
I'm just going to get video of it, and wow, what are those grinding wheels? Those are freaking grinding stones. Those are all grinding wheels. Holy crap. You are now looking at the era when America used to have a industrial base and manufacture things. Yeah, that rack of grinding stones, that is impressive. Ooh, mercury exposure system.
If you ever see the movie Tommy, they made the pinballs on these machines. There's a scene in the very beginning of the movie, one of these machines.
That's amazing.
Matt, are you only accepting cash? Or?
You got Venmo?
Always got to get the one vintage tower in there to get everybody all fired up. Oh, why didn't you get that? Why didn't you get that? Is this a freaking dongle? Check that out, like an old Weber's bread factory. Wow. amazing this stuff even gets by any kind of building and safety. Anyway, this is supposed to be a huge collection of vintage electronics, I think mostly test equipment. Somehow the dialysis clinic and the graffiti kind of roll together. You just gotta kind of use your imagination on that one. Wow. Vibrometer. It's just too much. Your brain just goes completely clinky dinkler. It cannot, like, it cannot process it. I mean, this was all somebody's idea of sorting things out, and then
That's my stack right there.
it's mine, it's mine. Stay away from it, it's mine. All mine. All mine. It's all mine. Oh yeah. 74 series chip. Oh, 74 LS00. Okay, can't stand up. Can't stand up. Alan Bradley. Oh, it's a Scrogun mixed marble larva. It's like, holy crap. And it's all got to be gone by the end of the year. Wow, look at this. Ooh, pulleys. It's endless, guys. It's freaking endless. And this is only the upstairs. They asked to not show the downstairs. And that's even more mind-blowing than this. And the smell, it has the smell that you see. It has, look at the sandpaper. This stuff's handy. .60 grit. It has the smell that you see. Okay, one last quick walk through, not with the good light, but just with my headlamp. Guy said his dad worked on stuff up into his 90s at that bench. Wow. It just goes on and on and on. Look at all those contactors. Look at all those capacitors. Those are all capacitors. fluorescent lamps. Little Variac, big Variacs. Look at those. Big ass Variac. Look at that. Look at these. Frickin' mogul socket. This is all fittings for electrical, like conduit stuff. Let's see, what is this? Ooh, look at this. This is an old building. Look at that. That's lath, timber lath. They drywalled over it, but this was a timber lath building. So this is like 1920s. And every one of these is an aisle. Those are half watt, not quarter watt. These are not quarter watt, these are half watt. This might be worth getting. If I'm going to be doing a lot of those what are those sets? Those electrostatic sets. Anyway, it just keeps going and going and going. Yeah, out of respect, show his bench, and that's probably his clock. That would actually be sort of a nice thing to have. I hate going vulture vampire. Look at the test cords here. These are suicide cords and cheater cords, but this was obviously the gentleman's bench, and this is, you know, probably meant a lot to him, and he probably knew all of this stuff in here. This is all electrical, and he probably saved this for when he started to feel down. That in a paper bag. But yeah, definitely respect to the man's bench. Grinder, that's a beautiful press, man. So at least I'm going to try and carry some of it on and not just recycle it. He liked yellow too. Like, look at this. So he said all this stuff was for sale, so I'm trying to just... Don't think that one's any good. Look at this. This is probably a 1,000-watt mercury vapor lamp in a flood. These are all fuses and fuse holders. Ooh, that, yes. Check this out. This is like, this might be like worse than Haiti. Like, where's barbecue?